Now, if you turn over in the New Testament to the book of Romans, chapter 6, verse 23, that's the book of Romans, chapter 6, verse 23, it reads in part, it says, "For the wages of sin is death." Okay. Now, if you just remember what we just read, what Jesus said, that that God sends prophets or guidance to the sick. We see here in Romans, it tells you that the wages of sin is death. Well, I mean that goes right together, because even when you're physically sick, now if you have a cold, you have cancer, you have some kind of terrible disease, you're on the pathway to death. Okay, and so when we sin and disobey God, the payment of that, the wages of sin is death. Okay, you're sick. Because anytime you're not obeying God and doing what He say do, you're sick, and your destination is death. Okay, but let's get back. But we're talking about in the ideal sense. Like, I'm speaking as if there are people on this planet, and there are some people on this planet, every one of them completely and obey God. I'm not saying that, and the book doesn't say that either. It says that we all have sinned, meaning we're all sick, right? And we all need the guidance of God. There's no one of us that's perfect. We all need God's guidance. God is the perfect one. Now, what's my proof of that? If you go to Romans, the same book, to chapter 3, verse 23, that's Romans chapter 3, verse 23, we have, "For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God." Okay, let's look at this in terms of business. Now, if you are in business selling whatever whatever merchandise you're selling, okay, if you don't sell X amount or a certain amount of a product, you come up with what you say short. You didn't make a profit. You're in the red. You came up short. Well, the scripture says that we all come up short, right? So if you look at this in terms of a business model, in terms of business, well, the book tells you that everybody on earth done came up short. So guess what? Just like in business, if you're coming up short every week, every day, and every month, you need a profit. Well, we all come up short with the word of God, and guess what? God needs to send us profits. Okay. All right, let me move forward. I just happen to think the scriptures are pretty wonderful when you read them. And I'm just trying to share my joy with you. I get a kick out of these scriptures, I'm telling you. But anyway, let's keep going. Okay. So we know that there's two things going on here. One example is materialistic, money, profit, and the other one is spiritual. Like the prophets of God, like David and Jesus and Moses. They dealt with a different kind of wealth. So they were a different kind of profit. Okay. Now, let's talk about the false prophet of the beast. Well, if you are worshiping the beast or the dragon or the beast's false religion, what the devil will do, the devil will have you focus on the materialistic thing and not the spiritual riches. Now, the material riches are silver and gold and all precious things that you see with your eye that you desire. Those are the physical riches. But the spiritual riches of God is like what we call wisdom. And Jesus touched on this. If you go to the New Testament, the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36, that's Mark 8 and 36, we have this. Jesus warned us. He said, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" Okay. So here Jesus warns you, that's not the profit that you should seek. You should not seek the riches of the world. You shouldn't seek those kind of profits. The profits you should seek are the profits of God. And what those profits will bring you is wisdom. You understand? Okay. So when the devil gave us his false religion, his religion, the dragon, he taught us to go after the false prosperity, or he taught us to follow the false prophet, the material things. And you should not spend your life chasing after the material things that the devil will have you do in his religion and his teaching. And King Solomon told you about that. Now, if you go to the Old Testament, and you go to the book of Proverbs, and you go to the chapter 23, verse 5, It reads as follows. This is Proverbs chapter 23, verse 5. It says this, wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away, even as an eagle flies towards heaven. So here King Solomon tells you that, no matter, you set your heart on the worldly riches, silver and gold and every cars, anything, those materialistic things, he said, the metaphor that he gave, he said those things will grow wings like an eagle and fly away. You can't hold on to them things. Those things are not going to profit you. You need the other treasures. And you got to think, how many times have we heard about lottery winners winning, $300 million, Mike Tyson, $50, $100 million in riches, MC Hammer, $30 and $40 million from the record industry and end up broke. What happened to the wealth of these people, by example? I'm not just singling out MC Hammer, Mike Tyson, and the like. But these are just examples of my point. The point is, the riches that Mike Tyson had, it grew wings. It's gone. It flew away from him. MC Hammer, all the money and riches that he got, grew wings and flew away from him. So we see that the words of Solomon are true. For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle fly towards heaven. So what's that? What are the true riches? Well, let's find out. You should be already in the book of Proverbs, so turn to chapter 16, verse 16 of Proverbs. It reads as follows. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather than to be chosen than silver? So here King Solomon tells you it's better to have wisdom than gold and understanding than silver. Okay? Now, that's what King Solomon said about the true treasure. He told you that the gold of God is wisdom. He identified it for you. Now, when we go back to the book of Revelation, we can read with understanding. Now, what I want you to do now is go to the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 18. That's Revelation, chapter 3, verse 18. It reads as follows. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich. Now, here in the book of Revelation, it's telling, the Alpha and Omega, or the Son of Man is speaking here, or the Christ. He said, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich. Well, if we wasn't too smart and we didn't know what King Solomon said about wisdom being gold, we might be lost right here in verse 18. We might literally think, does this person got some gold that he got, some physical gold I need to get from him or find on the earth? But no, we know from Solomon that he said wisdom is the gold you need to seek in chapter 16, verse 16 of Proverbs. So when we reread Revelation chapter 3, verse 18, it will read like this with understanding. I counsel thee to buy of me wisdom tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich. Now it makes all the sense in the world. So now we see that the true riches or the true profit is wisdom. That's the true profits of God. Whether you're trying to measure in terms of, some kind of wealth, and you refer to God, profits as being profit, like something tangible like that. Or you can say the prophets of God are wisdom, and you got to admit, King Solomon, full of wisdom. Jesus, full of wisdom. David, full of wisdom. Those are God's prophets. So, if you want to get paid, get the prophets of God. Let's move on. Now, we also know who the false prophets are. Now, since we know what the true riches are, is the spiritual riches of God, His wisdom. Well, we know that the false prophets are those that love and serve physical money, or the riches of this world, the unrighteous money, or the mark of the beast. Bells should be ringing at this point, okay? Because that's what you would call the bait of the false prophet of the beast of Revelation. How does he entice you to get away from God? How does he entice you to disobey God and obey him? How does he do that? How does he deceive you? He deceives you with physical things. He doesn't give you any he doesn't give you any wisdom. He deceives you with, promises of riches. Come gamble over here, or spend your life working to get this car. It's something physical. And since you are in this world, which is not being ruled. When I say rule, I mean people of this world do not obey God. This is a world of wickedness. So the money and the riches of this world is unrighteous money. It's transferred from person to person, business to business with the mark of the beast or the money of the beast. Now, concerning the mark of the beast, you may be surprised. Jesus talked about the mark of the beast. The Revelator in the book of Revelation just came out and said it, and Jesus hinted about the mark of the beast and the true riches of God. This is what Jesus had to say about the mark of the beast. If you go to the New Testament and go to Luke chapter 16, verse 11, that's Luke chapter 16, verse 11 we have, if therefore you have not been faithful in unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? Now, let's talk about this. Now, we see here in this verse, Jesus says, if you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon. Well, what is that? Okay, now, the word mammon has several meanings. But the most basic meaning of the word mammon is money. So when Jesus said, you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, he was saying you have not been faithful in the unrighteous money or wicked money. Because remember, one moment. Excuse me, I'm back. Okay, now, so when Jesus was talking about the unrighteous mammon, remember unrighteousness means wicked and mammon means money. So Jesus, when he said unrighteous mammon, he was talking about wicked money, right? Unrighteous, wicked mammon, money. You have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon. You have not been faithful in the wicked money. Now, I told you 2 weeks ago what the wicked money was. The money of the wicked or wicked money is the mark of the beast, or the American dollar. Now, you may say, what do you mean? Why in the world would I be faithful to wicked money? I don't understand, Minister Kevin. Well, let me explain to you. If you go back to my very first broadcast, I told you that the book of Revelation said the beast caused all to receive the mark in their hand and in their forehead. I told you this. Everybody on the planet uses you in a wicked world, and the medium of exchange is a wicked currency. So having money in your pocket, this wicked currency, does not make you an evil person. I'm just simply identifying for you what you carrying in your pocket. Okay, it's unrighteous, wicked money. Okay, it's the mark of the beast. Okay, everybody had, Jesus even had it, but in that day it was under Caesar. Caesar's image was on the money, but I'll touch on that later. You know, the mark of the beast been around for thousands of years, since the beast been ruling. But that's another subject, and I don't want to get away from my subject. But, so Jesus said, if you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to you the true riches? Well, we know what the true riches are. The true riches are the wisdom of God. But let's just hold that right there and think about that, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to come back to it. Okay? So here, but I'm just simply pointing out to you by this verse that Jesus, by way of implication, he was talking about the mark of the beast, and he was talking about the true riches of God. Now, we're about to get into that relationship concerning the mark of the beast, the false prophet, and the true riches of God. Okay, that's my subject for the first hour or so that I'm about to cover with you.